and threat perhaps to, he might become a political party one day and beat Labour and Tories or something, and this is their concern. This is the real enemy.
I mean, it does. You've brought up a few really interesting things there, because when with Facebook especially, it's used. Obviously, the authorities will have a look on that. I think there was an article recently I saw that was reported in the press where there was some person who was wanted on a recall to prison, and he was bragging that the police hadn't caught up with him on Facebook. And then it got into this sort of silly, immature battle between the police and this person who was on the run, or for want of a better word. And they eventually caught up with him and put a gloating sort of comment on his Facebook page to say that don't challenge us, we will win, or words that effect. I think it was Manchester Police actually. It was quite recently. I saw the article on the Metro, I think. But it shows that that all the agencies are using this, and the problem is as well with these social media sites like Facebook, which are the mainstream ones that the majority of people, if you knock on your next door neighbour's house, are going to be reading or using. The government bodies now are using them themselves to promote their claims of greatness and what they've achieved, and they use them as PR tools, which is one of the reasons why I'm systematically blocking all these type of bodies and agencies from my Twitter account, because I'm fed up of seeing things promoted on my timeline to say that how great everything is.
Do they call it sponsored now? Like sponsored?
Yeah,
and they really show it as it's a horrible thing.
Well, anything with of a government body, I will block.
They do it on Twitter as well. So
that's one of the Twitter,
and Twitter is becoming more like Facebook, and this is something we didn't cover. And so far, they haven't changed the default layout of pages, but they are moving very much in the direction. Now, I'll tell you what you should try. Okay, go to Twitter. I'm saying Facebook. It will be like Facebook, and occasionally you'll find, if you look at a person's profile page, it looks almost the same as Facebook. Go to direct message and look at the interface. That's almost like Facebook. Now, go to your settings. Okay, this is interesting. Go to privacy. They changed a lot of people didn't notice this because Twitter didn't say they changed the software, the backend. That's the magics of the cloud. And you'll find that you have, I'm not sure if it is something like an ID assigned to you, and that's not an ID for your use, that's for advertisers. And by default, it will be switched to on. So it basically means that you're being tracked. And increasingly, Google does the same thing in Android for Android users. And there's all sorts of things that happen that are horrible when it comes to privacy. And I said Twitter is increasingly starting to treat users like products, and someone likes to call them not users but used because they're being used. And it goes down the same road now with Twitter, unfortunately, and I keep using it, but I just don't count on it for the long run.
Yeah, I mean, I use it, and I mean, I would advocate anybody using Twitter if they're fully aware of the consequence of using it. Now, I go into Twitter knowing that I'm going to be looked at as a product, and that's why we see the promoted posts. Sorry.
Have you heard about the Wonga scandal?
No, I haven't heard that.
Okay, so those who don't know, Wonga is a really, really horrible loan shark in the UK, and apparently they expand to other countries because today I saw they also have like a presence in Canada or something, and they keep spamming us on TV and stuff, so it's very easy to hear this word Wonga every now and then. And somebody did a satire about the company, and then the company, apparently the company's lawyers, whom Wonga calls, like, even Wonga thinks those lawyers are a bit crazy. It's the people they employ. Went after the person's post in Twitter, and Twitter agreed to censor the criticism, which was satirical. So it wasn't like it was a bogus copyright claim against satire against the company itself. So here you see that Twitter is also starting to go into the censorship business based on bogus claims as well.
Well, I never came across the Wonga story myself. But I mean, the other thing I was going to say was, and this was relevant to my own experience, it sort of highlights the shame of the experience I had with diaspora. Now, that was the one way that you could sort of prevent a lot of these issues that arise with Facebook and people, being given data by Facebook, and that's it was decentralized, and it was fantastic. I mean, I think I said to you on Twitter a while back, the problem I had with diaspora. Wasn't that it was bad service? Wasn't that it didn't do everything it said in the tin and everything that Google Plus and Facebook did do? But it seems that the average user or demographics of the user base was mainly people in the know, and
That's okay.
That's why I pulled out.
You don't want to be trolled by people who think you're crazy.
Well, but you see, I've got a lot. I've got a lot to say, but my target audience or the people I want to stretch out to aren't the people that already know. Aren't the people that know about Creative Commons. They don't know about free and open source software. Now, it's all well and good me going to a forum and saying that how
hard.
It is hard, but if I go to a forum,
because you're not TV, you're not entertaining. No offense to you.
No,
but
not at all.
They will be introduced to Creative Commons when CNN says it's news. They'll accept it's news.
But then,
when CNN tells them that the cloud thing is a great thing, that's when they go online and say, "Oh, maybe we should try this cloud thing." And I think, like Stallman said, it's just media hype. He said it in 2008, and I still think a lot of people they think it's a hip thing now to send your thing to this iCloud thing and to buy this Apple thing and the white thing, simple interface and GUIs and silverish thing and Aqua. And they really think it's what makes them friends because that's what they see on TV. This is the guy who gets friends, the guy who dresses up hip, he uses a Mac. And it really gets into them. And say, "Oh, you're such a Luddite, you don't put your data on the cloud." Say, "No, because I'm not stupid." And they just look at people like that with ridicule, like, "Oh, Stallman doesn't use a cell phone, he must be crazy." Well, now we know he's not that crazy. And he doesn't pay with cash either. He pays with cash.
Yeah, pays with cash, yeah. I mean, I'm obviously talking to a limited audience within the remit of my Twitter followers and or people that are kind enough to read what I put onto Twitter. But with open source software, with Creative Commons, and with GNU/Linux, it just takes one person for me to show the benefits of and them to bring that into their own home, and that's a success. That person, and I've seen this happen before. I had a colleague at work. A computer user only because of necessity. He would use Facebook, he would send emails, just do basic stuff on his laptop. He was introduced to Linux on his laptop, and then next thing I know, he's recommended it to a friend, and that friend then comes to me and says, "You do the same thing to my computer." And although they don't know what they're running, and they don't know about, and they don't understand free and open source software, and to be fair, they don't have any interest in knowing what free and open source software is, but it doesn't matter.
They don't have to understand it.
And the fact is that they're getting a better experience. So that's the success. Now I could stand up in front of 50 people who've all got Linux already installed on the machine and say how great Linux is, for example, but I wouldn't be doing any good because they'd all be nodding their head to say, "Yeah, we know." So I try to sort of reach out, and that was why diaspora wasn't what I want to do, because the people I want to reach to are the people that talk about Justin Bieber and Lady Gaga, and don't consider that the thing that they're using to get onto the internet could be far better or a better experience with
a
Linux.
lot of them are using Android now to do that.
And that's good. That's good.
And also when they serve the web, they're using this thing called Apache and Firefox and Chrome and so it is changing, but you see, they don't know what free software is. In fact, they will be told that open source is a failure, and Linux is like, when will be the year of the Linux desktop? And they really follow, and that's fine, but at the end of the day, you thought, "Oh, this telephone you're using, that uses Linux, and this thing called Google, that runs Linux, and those websites you run, they run in Apache, it's open source." They don't have to realize that they do this, but those things that they use will in some cases secure them from vulnerabilities, backdoors, and so on. By the way, I think Android is not that secure anymore, and I think the reason it's kind of permitted to be popularized is because, based on the Wall Street Journal, a very pro-establishment thing, Android can have its facilities like cameras and microphones switched on remotely by the FBI. So we kind of know that there is some mechanism, and Google doesn't say anything about it. So in a way, you could say, okay, well, those people are using Android and it's free software. However, I'm not sure how well we can count on it, and that also links into a recent report from the Free Software Foundation that the people working on what's the name Replicant. The guys working on Replicant with F-Droid, they found what they call to be a backdoor in the Samsung telephones. So the implementation of Android by some of the vendors will contain voluntary or involuntary backdoor inside of it that takes care of takes control of the phone basically.
Yeah, I mean it's probably a subject that the mainstream consumer doesn't consider much